I'm ready to go live. Are we ready?
Mhm.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. So today, the date is 30th of April. The time is 10:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Mohammed Faisal. I'm the chief examiner at Nafi. We will be going through the exam. Excuse me. I have a throat infection. Just give me 1 minute. So the examination, today's exam, part two for EduQual level 6, is being conducted for Muhammad Hassaan Waseem. You're based in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes, sir. I'm
Okay,
based in.
yes. The title is The Federated Learning for Secure, Decentralized AI Workflows Across Multi-Cloud Platform, right?
Yes.
It's a very loaded topic. As per the document that I sent to you, um, there are three objectives, implementing federated learning to train AI models, uh, using distributed data sets across AWS and Azure, ensure data privacy and security during the federated learning process, and optimize AI workflows for performance and compliance across multi-cloud environments, right? Key areas of focus, there's a DevOps focus, there's a SysOps focus, there is AI, there is cybersecurity, there's GRC, and then there's cloud security, right? So there's a multiple avenues are there. Key areas of focus are six, objectives are three. Uh, I have reviewed your presentation. Based on that, I have drafted some of the questions. You will be given minimum 15, maximum 25 minutes to go through the presentation, inshallah. After the presentation, then we will have a Q&A session. Okay. So are you ready?
Okay. Yes, I'm ready, sir.
You can share your screen.
Just 1 second. Is my screen visible to you?
It's loading right now. It is, yes. Okay. I'm going to start the timer for 25 minutes. You may begin now. Bismillah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Hello, everyone. I hope you're fine. Good evening. My name is Mohammed Hassaan, and I'm presenting a topic which is federated learning for secure, decentralized AI workflow across multi-cloud platforms. This presentation fulfilled the EduQual level 6 requirement for my diploma in artificial intelligence operation. Today, I will walk you through how federated learning works and why it's an ideal fit for secure, privacy-preserving AI training in a multi-cloud setup involving both AWS and Azure. Table of contents. Here's our roadmap for today. We will start with an introduction to federated learning and explore why it's critical for multi-cloud setups and walk you through its workflow and frameworks. Later on, we will cover the federated learning architecture in multi-cloud and also touch on some critical aspects like DevOps automation, system operation, AI model training, cybersecurity, cloud security, GRC, and compliance. Finally, we will look at some use cases of federated learning and wrap up with conclusion and with the trends. So let's get started. Introduction to federated learning. So let's start with the basic. What exactly is federated learning? In short, it's a decentralized approach to machine learning. Unlike traditional methods where raw data is sent to a central server, federated learning trains model locally on each device or clients, and only model updates like weights or gradients are shared with a central server. This keeps raw data private, meeting strict privacy regulations while enabling collaborative learning. Now, there are three main types of federated learning. First is horizontal federated learning. This is where data across all the clients have the same structure or features but have different user records. For example, a hospital storing the same type of patient matrices but different patients. Vertical federated learning. Here, all the clients uh, have the same user records but have different features. Like a bank and insurance company may have the same customers but they are holding different type of information. Federated transfer learning. This is used when data sets are different in both samples and features. It applies when there is limited overlap in data. So why does this even matter? As the privacy concern grows, federated learning scales seamlessly across distributed systems, adapting to evolving regulations and global infrastructure. Why federated learning in multi-cloud? Organizations are nowadays often use more than one cloud provider like AWS and Azure to avoid vendor locking, improve redundancy, and to take advantage of specialized services. Federated learning perfectly aligns with this multi-cloud strategy for several reasons. First is data privacy and security. Since federated learning doesn't require you to moving your data to a central location, each cloud environment retains its own data and keeps your data private and secure. The second is bandwidth optimization. Federated learning reduces the volume of data that needs to be transferred across networks. Instead of sending large data sets, only lightweight model updates are transmitted. This saves bandwidth and reduces latency also. Additionally, by using decentralized AI model training locally on AWS and Azure independently, you don't rely on a single cloud for compute. Alright, so finally, it enhances robustness. Federated learning maintains reliable learning even in the case of failures, attacks, or data variations. Federated learning workflow. So let's walk you through how a federated learning cycle works step by step. First is global model initialization. A base model is created and maintained by a central server which could be hosted on any cloud or even on premises. The second is model distribution. The model is distributed to the participating nodes. This could be organizations, devices, or any cloud regions. Third one is local model training. Each client trains their model from their own local datasets without exposing that data externally. Fourth is model update. After training, clients send their model updates or the raw data back to the central server. Fifth is aggregation. The central server will aggregate the model update by using algorithm like Farid averaging. Finally, the updated model is sent back to each client, and this cycle can repeat further to refine the model. This continues after several iterations until the model is adequately trained. So this diagram is illustrating how the Farid process occurs. Model distribution, then local model training, then the model update is sent back to a central server, which will aggregate the model update. Federated learning frameworks. There are several frameworks available to support federated learning. Each one brings its own stand depending on the use case. TensorFlow Federated, developed by Google, this built for experimentation and academic research. It allows simulation of federated learning scenarios with ease. Fate is another framework which focuses on secure computation protocols and is well suited for vertical-based federated learning. It uses techniques like homomorphic encryption to enhance privacy. Flower is flexible, lightweight, and framework agnostic. This means it can work with various types of machine learning frameworks. Next is NVIDIA Flare. It is a privacy-preserving framework and is well suited for enterprise environments and also integrates smoothly with multi-cloud deployments. All right, so all of these frameworks help us managing everything from client-server communication to encryption and data flow, making federated learning development and deployment easier. Federated learning architecture in multi-cloud. This diagram illustrates how federated learning operates across AWS and Azure. At the center is a central server which could be hosted on any cloud or even on premises, depending on the organizational requirement where they want to reside their central server. The central server initializes a global model, distribute it to clients, collect local model updates, and aggregate them into an improved global model. All communication is secure using TLS encryption. Okay, so on the AWS side, the process starts with AWS code pipeline, automating a deployment. AWS SageMaker perform local model training on private datasets. Then the train model is installed on AWS S3 with encryption. Then the AWS config check for compliance. Once it's approved, the encrypted model updates are sent back to the central server. For authentication and authorization of client and server, on AWS, we use AWS IAM. And a similar flow takes place in Azure also. Azure DevOps manages the deployment, while Azure Machine Learning handles local model training. Outputs are stored in Azure Blob Storage, also encrypted. Azure policy and other compliance tools make sure that governance standards are met before the encrypted models are sent back to the central server. For authentication and authorization in Azure, we rely on Azure Active Directory. And both cloud environments follow the same cycle. The central server uses technique like Farid averaging to refine the global model, which is then redistributed to the clients. This cycle can repeat until the model reaches its optimal performance. Optionally, we can also use private VPC or VNets, adding a layer of isolations and reducing exposure to public internet. For frameworks, we can use any frameworks depending on the requirement and need. because framework automate these tasks like initialization, distribution, local model updates, aggregations, and also add some security enhancement techniques like differential privacy, secure aggregation, and homomorphic encryption. So I just mentioned two clients there in this architecture. There could be many clients depend on the cross silo or cross device requirement. At last, this architecture enables secure, compliant, and scalable collaboration across cloud platforms. So let's discuss each tool one by one. DevOps automation. DevOps automation is key for federated learning deployment. We use GitOps to manage infrastructure while Git repository like GitHub or GitLab, and with tools like Argo CD for continuously reconciling the disaster in the cloud. Our CI/CD pipeline built with Jenkins, AWS Code Pipeline, or Azure DevOps streamline and model updates. For infrastructure as a code, we rely on Terraform, AWS CloudFormation in AWS, or Azure Resource Manager template in Azure. Kubernetes orchestration using AWS AKS and Azure AKS automate the containerized federated learning deployment across clouds. So all of these help us to automate deployment, reduce human errors, and maintain consistency across cloud infrastructure. SysOps management, efficient management of the federated infrastructure is essential. That's where SysOps came in. We begin with AWS SageMaker, which allow us to build, train, and deploy machine learning models in a managed environment. In parallel, we have Azure ML, which can manage the entire federated life cycle in Azure, from data ingestion to model deployment. And also, storage plays a key role in federated learning process. We use AWS S3 and Azure Blob Storage to store model updates, local assets, and global model are encrypted for data protection. AI model training. The heart of federated learning is, of course, AI model training itself. Let's talk about how we actually train our AI model in a federated environment. The federated learning framework, such as the NVIDIA Flare or Flower, ensure that this decentralized training is secure across multi-cloud environments. Actually, these are open source frameworks available to support to train AI model across decentralized data without sharing raw data. On the AWS side, for edge-based federated learning, we can use AWS SageMaker as manager or AWS IoT Green Gas. These tools allows model to be deployed, trained, and even updated on the network edge, like IoT devices. So AWS SageMaker as manager is no longer service available. Is provided by AWS. So we will just use AWS IoT Green Gas for specific edge devices, and also in Azure we use Azure IoT Edge for specific edge devices. But keep in mind that training will happen on AWS SageMaker and Azure ML. In parallel, Azure Machine Learning enables that training of federated models are secure on distributed datasets in the Azure cloud. Cybersecurity measures. Cybersecurity is critical in federated learning because we are dealing with sensitive information that never leave its local environment or model updates. We have to protect model updates also. To ensure that this data remain private throughout the process, we use several key measures. First, authentication and authorization. In AWS, we use identity access management to control who can access resources like training assets or model updates and invalid conditions. In Azure, we rely on Azure Active Directory to verify identities and securely manage access across cloud systems. Data privacy and protection techniques. First, secure aggregations allow the server to combine all the model updates without seeing individual contribution. This helps prevent attacker from reverse engineering sensitive data. Next is differential privacy. It adds a statistical noise to the model updates, making it nearly impossible to identify specific user data, even if someone gain access in training process also. Homomorphic encryptions enable the server to compute directly on encrypted data, ensuring that model updates stay private even during processing. Key encryption and storage security. For protection of data at rest, we use AWS Key Management Service and Azure Key Vault. These tools encrypt datasets and enforce strong key rotation and access control policies across clouds, ensuring that stored data is just as secure as data in transit. So together, these technologies form a zero trust security framework. which focuses on that only verified and authorized participant can contribute to the federating process, and by keeping sensitive information safe all across the clouds. Cloud security measures. While cybersecurity focuses on logic layer, cloud security focuses on infrastructure level. All right. So first, we secure all communication channels using TLS encryption. This ensures the data in transit whether between nodes or to the center server is encrypted. To prevent accidental attacks, we can use AWS Shield or also DDoS protection, which can monitor and mitigate the denial of service attacks in AWS and Azure across federated infrastructure. Anomaly detection is vital for real-time threat detection, and this we utilize tools like AWS Guard Duty and Defender for Cloud in Azure. Basically, these services analyze logs and behaviors to detect suspicious activities like unauthorized access attempts or traffic anomalies. And finally, we can also implement role-based access control and multi-factor authentication to restrict access only to verified users and systems so that our whole infrastructure remains safe. GRC stands for Governance, Risk Management, and Compliance, and this is where federated learning truly shines. Federated learning inherits border governance by design, since data remain decentralized and never leave the clients. So it directly aligns with compliance requirement and the GDPR and CCPA. For continuous compliance, we utilize tools like AWS Config because it continuously track AWS sources and check if they conform to defined policies and standards. Azure policy enforces and audit compliance rules across Azure environments. Additionally, we also adhere to some international standards like the one ISO 27001, which specifies the requirement for managing information security, and the NIST cybersecurity framework, which focuses on secure conversion, which provides best practice for identifying, protecting, and responding to cyber threats. All right, so at last, compliance in federated learning isn't just an add-on, it's embedded into the architecture from the ground up. Federated learning use cases. Now let's look at where federated learning is actually making a difference. Use cases of federated learning. In healthcare, hospitals can train diagnosis models without sharing patient data. For example, a cancer detection model can be trained across multiple hospitals. In finance, banks enjoy trained for detection or credit scoring models for decentralized data without exposing individual customer data. Smart cities can also leverage parity learning for real-time traffic analytics. And here are the case studies of tech giants. There could be many parity learning use cases, especially in the field of government sectors, where data is sensitive, and also in manufacturing, robotics, in retail, etc. And the case study of tech giants is here. Google uses parity learning in Gboard to improve its predictive typing without collecting user text. Apple applies fine learning to improve Siri by training on device for personalized speech recognition. By the way, Google introduced fine learning in 2016, first time. And these above examples prove that federated learning isn't just about theoretical; it is solving a privacy and performance challenges also. Conclusion and future trends. To wrap up things up, federated learning enables secure and decentralized AI workflow across multi-cloud environments. It maintains data sovereignty and enhance privacy by keeping raw data on device. Federated learning also lays the foundation for the future of decentralized AI ecosystem, making AI more ethical, secure, and compliant. Looking ahead, we have some exciting trends include blockchain integration, which provides more transparency and trust in federated learning workflow. Quantum federated learning, which is emerging but could revolutionize the computation and encryption, and also development for more smart aggregation techniques and optimization algorithm like that, like federated averaging and Scala is needed. We need more and more smart aggregation techniques like robust aggregation mechanism and federated averaging and Scala is needed. Also, there is also one feature trans that is not widely used, but it is called fully decentralized system, in which there is no server, in which clients are connected via peer-to-peer model. It's also called gossip learning. At last, federated learning enables secure and scalable collaboration across multi-cloud. Federated learning isn't just about technology, it's about the future of ethical AI as we shift towards decentralized system that's lead with security, collaboration, and purpose. Thank you for your attention.
That's a very good presentation. Let me ask you something. So, can you confirm your age, please?
Yes, my age is currently
Yes.
exact. I am 13 years and 10 months old. 10 months
Okay.
old.
Do you know how to speak Arabic like you have been in Saudi Arabia?
No, just little bit I speak.
Just a little bit shoya shoya, right? So you have to learn Arabic.
Yes.
This is very important for you because this is going to help you significantly, okay? Um, let me open this. So, what do you know about the
Can I just use a pen and
yes, you
paper
can.
for
Yes, you
his?
can. Yes, you can. Okay, Bismillah
Yes,
ar-Rahman
sir.
ar-Rahim. All right, so what do you know about the Saudi 2030 vision? You're in Saudi Arabia, right?
Yes, it's a vision to change the economy, a oil-based economy to non-profitable, non-oil profitable economy, like from tourism, from uh, technology, from agriculture, and other things mainly.
Excellent. So, explain to me, how does federated learning align with the Saudi vision of 2030 goals in AI and digital transformation? Because that's exactly what they're doing. And your topic streamlines and fit directly into that vision.
They can, for 2030 vision, they can build ethical AI without exporting their data, because in federated learning, clients just have their own data on their own device, and just model updates are transmitted. So they can build without exposing their data and reducing exposure to when they send to the cloud. So you can say the
So, yeah, I mean,
exposure
that's
become
fine. So,
minimal.
uh, explain to me how would this, the authority that manages all of this thing is the Saudi Data and AI Authority, SDAIA, right? As they call it, SADIA.
Okay.
So, the
Yes.
aim is to make Kingdom a global leader in data-driven innovation, right? So,
Yes. Yes.
federated learning supports this vision by how? Like, how can the federated learning supports this data-driven mission, innovation, right? That they are looking for. How does the federated learning fits in that? You mentioned AI model development without compromising data. Yes. What else?
What else? Use cases
You
in
already answered the
healthcare.
question,
In
but you
healthcare,
already answered the question, but I just want to know there are some more, you know,
they can
and
revolutionize the industries of healthcare. Smart City is basically in Riyadh is an ongoing project of Smart City, become a Smart City of Riyadh. So they can use fire learning in this scenario as well. And also in finance, anti-money laundering, they can use fire learning.
yes, like supporting secure distributed AI systems across smart cities,
And
industry.
also meeting the compliance requirement of their own. Like Saudi have, I think so, the law, Saudi data protection law.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes, yes.
Excellent, excellent. Mashallah, mashallah. Okay. So why is because the goal at Nafe is to make sure that we get you on the job, right? From day one. So your Al Razak part one will be given to you. Today is 30th of April, so we have already started giving it out.
Yes.
So Al Razak part two will cover all the core areas, and I'm going to make sure that I give it to you as per the Saudi, because you're based in Saudi, right? So
No,
uh,
yes, Saudi as well as in North America market,
in North America,
because
yes.
we
I
are,
mean,
yes,
I mean, it will cover everything because
yes,
whatever they are trying to do, the
yes,
Saudis,
yes,
their vision always aligns with the vision in the Europe, right?
yes, of
When it comes
course.
to technology, when it comes to all of those things, right? So there's nothing wrong with it because there was a time that the Europeans used to mimic us, and because we were leading, but now since we're not leading anymore, now we are trying to mimic them, right? The Europeans and the Western countries. So, and we have to do that because when it comes to technology and all those things, but at the same time, we have to do this thing, with the infusion of Islamic values, so on and so forth, right? So, why is federated learning critical for data privacy in a regulated sector like healthcare and finance in Saudi Arabia?
In Saudi Arabia, in every country, healthcare data is sensitive. We have to protect it, because attacker can attack it, and our personal data, and it can, like, it can expire, it can expose our data to something, so on social media, on anything else. So if anybody, for example, if anybody has a cancer or tumor, so we have to protect it, because if its personal sensitive information goes back to the on anything on any platform, so it will become much more harder of that country also, and of that person also. And
Yeah.
free
But
learning enables that training in data privacy must be secure. And we just sent our model updates, not the raw data itself, because in centralized traditional machine learning, we just sent all the, as you can say, all the data to one location. So it reduces the exposure when we just not send the raw data and just keep it local. And also we can protect our model updates by attacker, because attacker can attack anything. Attacker can attack model updates also, so we can use secure aggregations, so that server will not also not see the what the kind of the model update is, and it will just aggregate without knowing the individual client contribution. And also we can use differential privacy, adding noise to the model updates.
okay, so what is, what do you call, what is the name of the agency uh, which governs the data privacy and sovereignty law in Saudi Arabia?
The agency
What do you call it? What do you call that agency, or what do you call the law for the data resident?
compliance requirement.
No, no, no. I mean, what is the name of the law? There's a name that it has.
Saudi has, or
In Saudi Arabia, it is known as Personal Data Protection Law,
yes,
right?
Saudi data protection. Yes,
Yes.
for Saudi residents
So
only.
it was enacted by whom? By which degree it was enacted by? Who's at the very top
So
in Saudi Arabia?
Muhammad bin Salman at the
Royal
top, and
family. Yes, royal family, right? So it comes from the royal family, the royal decree that you need to, implement set
yes,
of
yes, yes.
comprehensive regulations for data collection, right? Okay, good stuff. All right, so let's jump deeper into all the aspects, right? So, what real world applications of federated learning could support smart cities initiatives across the, in the Western countries and Saudi Arabia and all the places?
Smart cities, study learning can also leverage in smart cities for real-time traffic analytics and safety analytics also. For example, they can monitor the whole traffic which is ongoing in the city, or the IoT networks. IoT networks can also be monitored. This is a basic introduction of smart cities, but fairy learning help us in uh, building that system without compromising their personal data. For example, a car is moving, and we have to detect that. So fairy learning just a car can be a client, can be possible, or a road can be a client. So without without data privacy and production techniques.
Okay. How does the architecture ensures that you proposed ensures end-to-end data encryption in the multi-cloud, federated learning setup, considering both the AWS and Azure platforms? So explain to me what happens at rest, in transit, and during aggregation. What happens? How do you
Okay.
ensure that this takes place in the AWS and Azure? So how do you protect data at rest? in a multi-cloud environment.
From the security purpose.
Yes.
Yes. So we will implement zero trust security framework, like never trust on anybody and always verify. In fire learning, it can it can be this mean is like strict authentication and authorization controls, like we did in AWS IAM and Azure AD by using that. And we can also use we can also continuous monitoring is most essential, and also network segmentation by using VPC or VNets, and encryption at our level, like in transit we can use AWS key management service and Azure Key Vault for protection of at rest, which is in the AWS S3 bucket or Azure blob storage. And for production of data in transit, we can use transfer TLS encryption, or the version of it be the best version is 1.3. And other things continuous monitoring by using AWS CloudWatch, Azure Monitor. And if detect happened, and
How much time it took you to complete the preparation for this topic? How
six
much
week,
time you took?
6 week.
6 weeks.
Yes, now till now 6 weeks.
In 6 weeks, you were able to prepare yourself for all of those things. Good job, mashallah. What is meant by homomorphic encryption?
Homomorphic encryptions enable the server to compute directly on encrypted data. Mean that I will just give you a scenario. We have model updates, and it's going to the clients. Client from to the server, and we have to encrypt the server. The client will encrypt those model updates and send it to the center server. The server will agree. All the clients same did the same thing, and the center server will, the server will aggregate those model updates in an encrypted manner. So without exposure, then the global model came, and then the client will decrypt it. So we call it encryption without decryption. Actually, it is decryption, but from server client perspective, it's not decryption.
Sure. If a cyber attack injects a poison update, excuse me. If a cyber attack injects a poison update into a federated learning workflow, what cryptographic and system level defenses can detect and mitigate this in real time across distributed AWS and Azure nodes? I mean, how can you pick this up?
Can you repeat? If a
So there's a cyber attack happening, right? And the cyber attacker is able to inject poisoned update,
Okay, okay.
poisoned data into the federated learning workflow. What cryptographic and system level defenses are there to detect and mitigate this in real time across distributed AWS and Azure nodes?
Okay.
How does the system detects that this
Yes.
data is
This
poisoned?
the
We should not.
system will detect by using AWS Guard Duty or Azure Defender for Cloud in the cloud specifically. And we mitigate by using robust aggregation mechanism like Crumb or Tremint or Median. Because the robust aggregation is not a simple aggregation, it is basically designed to filter out the harmful updates or fake updates to protect our global model eventually.
Have you played with the implementation of uh, Byzantine resilient aggregation algorithm like Crumb or Boolean? Have you played with it?
No, sir, just collect the information
Okay,
and just
so
read
in
it
your
out.
Al-Razak program, you'll be doing the implementation, right? Because Al-Razak program is taking into account your topic as well, right? The
Okay.
topic that was given to you. This is a very, very loaded topic. So you can easily ace any interview because implementing these algorithms is going to be something that only architects do, like at a higher level. But if you can show, and that's not like it doesn't require rocket science, but because we're teaching you everything. But if you implement this, like this is going to be very helpful for you in your interviews, okay? Uh, okay, how does you know about NVIDIA Flare?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
so how
a
does the use
framework.
of yes, so how does the use of NVIDIA Flare enable multi-tenant data isolation? right? During federated learning in enterprise environment. How does it happens?
NVIDIA Player help us to it is a framework which will help us to automate the task in the filing architecture, and it is built in NVIDIA Player itself has a secure aggregation and virtual privacy, so we don't need to worry about you know the security
What do
purpose.
you use it
And
for? Like, what do you use it for? There's a specific reason.
enterprise environments, and also it can help in integrate with multi-cloud easily, because they had a lot of work with it with AWS, Azure,
So essentially, you can
continuous
use NVIDIA to train what? Like to train
to train
data.
our AI model and
Yeah,
data. Local training happens within the
local
video.
training in an isolated manner, right?
Yes, yes.
So we're going to make you implement this thing in on the Al Razak Labs.
Okay.
This is very important for you. Okay. So what are the key differences in how AWS config and Azure policy enforces compliance in a federated learning system? I mean, what's the difference between AWS config and Azure policy? How do
Yeah.
they work?
So AWS config check for the compliance requirement across AWS resources specifically, and check if they conform to defined policies and standards, basically across the whole Azure environments. For example, in our case, it will check the AWS S3 bucket after when the model update is stored. So it will just make sure that everything is under compliance requirement, or if we have specific laws like GDPR or CCPA, or they are compiling with this. And Azure policy enforces and audit compliance rules across Azure environments. Uh, Same like Azure config, we have Azure compliance that will check the compliance, but Azure policy enforces and audit compliance rules across Azure environments.
Okay. If you have to design a secure federated learning pipeline, right, that includes a CI/CD with Jenkins, uh, AWS code pipeline, and Azure DevOps, while ensuring the global model aggregations step cannot be tampered with by the server administrator, what steps would you use? How would you perform this thing?
By using Git as a single source of truth for infrastructure, and build the pipeline secure and monitoring continuously
Would you use
in a proper use.
some kind of, how
Argus,
would you do the version
Argus
controlling? How would you do the version control?
version control management is used by Git
Version control, and it has to be
management.
what? It has to be what? How do you compare the versions? You compare what? That there's a specific, if I tell you the name, that's the answer.
Argus City, no, Argus City is not there. Version control management.
Is done by what? You compare something, before the change it was this, after the change it was this. So you can say, okay, something has changed, so this might be compromise, right? So we have to compare what?
The version of the pipeline, sorry, the code.
Hash verification, right? It has to be hashed. So all stages within the version control needs to be hash verified. Okay. Um, okay, that's fine. Good. How would you make sure that, the global model published within from the same question, how would you ensure that the global model when published is tamper proof? What would you use? There are two technologies that you can potentially use. Yeah.
Global model is hamper.
Yeah. I mean, like obviously you have designed a secure federated learning pipeline that includes CI/CD with Jenkins, AWS code pipeline, Azure DevOps, while ensuring that the global model aggregation step cannot be tampered with, right? So you answered the first question by saying, okay, I ask you, how do you do the version controlling? So that was one part. The other part is, how would you make sure that it's tamper proof? There are two things you can use. You already mentioned this to me in the beginning. How do you make
I
sure
guess
how do you make sure that the data is tamper proof?
tamper proof by using infrastructure as a truth.
No,
And
infrastructure as a no. Infrastructure as a truth, no. Uh,
um,
one thing is blockchain. The other one is immutable storage, right?
okay, immutable records.
Yes. Okay. All right. Your exam is over. How was your exam?
Was okay.
Okay. All right. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. You are 13 years and 10 months, right? Okay. You can. So, I'm going to give you this feedback. You scored, mashallah, 90%, 23 out of 25 in your presentation. It's very good, mashallah. Okay. In your Q&A, you had some hiccups, but you still, mashallah, secured 22 out of 25, which is 88%, right? So your total is coming out to be 23 plus 22 divided by 50. So it's 90%. That is a distinction, mashallah. Okay. So congratulations, mashallah, in terms of
Thank
securing
you.
distinction in your, you know, in your exam. This is my recommendation for you. Okay. You're 14 years of age. You should and you must write it down. This is recorded. It's already on the YouTube as well, so you can use it. You must not, I'm not going to use the word should. You must go for QB astronaut exams. Okay. That's the first thing you have.
Yes.
You must complete Al Razak Part 1. That will be given to you because from today onwards, we have started giving it to everyone, right? Al Razak Part 1, which are the labs that you have to perform. And then there is Al Razak Part 2. Al Razak Part 2 is very detailed. It is going to cover each and everything that you went through, which is applicable as per the Saudi market and as per the countries that we focus on, right? Obviously, you will be given, if I have to tell you how it will go through, you will be given access as per this. I'm going to show it to you, right? As per the these countries focus, right? So whatever you have learned, like if you come to Canada or US or Mexico or Australia, New Zealand, Germany, France, Ireland, Netherlands, Sweden, these are all developed economies, right? Right?
Yes.
But I'm going to add Saudi Arabia in there as well because you're based in Saudi Arabia. If you want to find work in there, you can do so, right? Becoming a QB astronaut is going to be important for you because when you have to deploy federated systems, they rely a lot on, as the data increases, the demand for the resources increases, right? So it's best to run them on Kubernetes infrastructure, QB infrastructure, because then you can scale as per the data,
Provisions, yes.
right? The other thing that you have to do, so that's number one is QB astronaut passing all of those exams. We are going to provide you labs for all of those exams and the MCQs. Okay, so there are 5 exams that you should go for. You must go for. It's going to help you a lot. Okay.
Yes, I will, inshallah.
Uh, the second thing is Al Razak Part 1 and Part 2. Al Razak Part 1, and depending on which KYC you completed, so Al Razak is going to ensure that when you get Al Razak, we are going to pick up, some of the key areas in the technologies, right? The core integration framework, as we call it. This is our core integration framework. This is where all the world jobs are. So we call this the core integration framework. AI ops will be integrated for you, covering all of these key areas. Can you see that? Right?
Yes, I'm saying.
So
Yes.
you have to provide
Yeah.
answers to us, and my recommendation to you is go deeper into AI and ML. Okay. For the predictive systems, intelligent automation, AI model building, automation pipelines, model explainability, all of these things, along with cybersecurity and along with big data, right? These are the key concepts, key areas you should focus on because it covers all industries. You see that? All
Yes,
industries, right?
yes, yes.
Right?
All the possible
All the
industries.
industries, regardless. Your father is working uh, in a networking area, so he's here somewhere, right? But this is something big. Anyway, your area already covers that. So that's one. You should certainly go for that. The second thing is you can, and we are willing to sponsor you to go and study in Canada, in USA, in UK, wherever you want to. Based on the distinction you have secured, you can take admission, right? You can either go in last year of bachelor's or you can go directly into master's program. But before you go to any of these countries, you must pass QB astronaut exam.
And it's a
The value of
yes.
QB astronaut will diminish over time, but right now it is hot in the market, right? It is demandable. It is required by many of the employers out there, something that we have seen. Passing the QB astronaut doesn't mean that you know everything, right? You may not even be able to crack the interview, but doing the Al Razak labs will give you enough confidence that you can even develop any solution and you can do any work that the employers are asking for. Work on any of these projects, right? So going deeper into now getting a master's degree or last year of bachelor's or doing a master's directly, it's up to you. If you do that, that helps you basically in terms of securing up to 3 years of work permit in Canada and USA. In UK, it's 2 years. In Germany, similar, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, right?
I
You,
can go because of the ages
that
requirement.
is one thing. Yes, I know. So I'm going to tell you. So you still have time before you go. Well, you might be able to go depending on we have to look at the policy, right? Because there are room for exceptional candidates, right? So we have to look for that country specific visa policy, right? You have performed exceptionally well. I mean, you secured 90% in your metric exams, right? Your O level
Yes,
equal, right?
yes, metric, yes.
Right? That's a very good percentage, mashallah. Now you secured again 90%. I didn't know that, right? You secured again, so you are a distinction candidate. So if you focus on that, inshallah, you can. Now, there's the option I would suggest to you: pass the QB astronaut, complete Al Razak Part One, Al Razak Part Two. This will take you at least 6 to 9 months, depending on how much time you invest because you're already studying full time, right?
Yes,
Learn
I am.
Arabic language. If you
Okay.
do all of those things, I wouldn't be surprised that you can earn 20 to 25,000 riyal in Saudi Arabia. Yes, that's a very high salary. Even your father may not be earning like that, right? Maybe he might be earning 25, 30,000 riyal. I don't know. But you can supersede him at a very young age and you can go deeper into the areas, right? So this is my recommendation for you. After 2 years, then when you are 16, right now you're not even 14. When you're 16, then go for your master's program or last year of bachelor's, whatever you want to choose, right? This is my recommendation for you. You did very, very well, mashallah. Okay. So congratulations to you and your family. Is anyone sitting close to you listening?
Yes, my father is.
Father is here. Where is he?
Yes,
Can I talk to him?
just 1 minute. Come. Yes, I am.
अस्सलामुअलैकुम।
अस्सलाम वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाह।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
आप सुन रहे थे मेरी बात में जब क्या कह रहा था उसको क्या समझा रहा
जी
था?
जी, मैं यूट्यूब के ऊपर सारी वॉच कर रहा था लाइव।
आपका बच्चा बहुत समझदार है, स्मार्ट है।
अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह। अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह।
आपको हमारे बारे में किसने बताया था?
मेरे से आपका कांटेक्ट हुआ था 2019 में। उस वक्त मैं नया नया सऊदी आया था, तो बस मैं उस वक्त प्रोजेक्ट कर रहा था यहाँ पर मल्टीपल ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में। सो ड्यू टू वर्कलोड आई नॉट एबल टू ज्वाइन। देन माय सन पास अ मैट्रिक एग्जाम। It was a up and down in my family, either go for this program or not, but I force him to go. I will help you. So Alhamdulillah, he completed everything full time. He was sitting at home. He was in the Pakistan when he joined. Then I bring back him in here because in Pakistan there is load shedding issue and multiple distractions. So Alhamdulillah, he focused very well, and for all the presentation. So I only support him for 3 and 2%, but the
Okay.
97% he prepare everything by self. I didn't guide him. I just jump in for the just watching, because I try him to face the hurdles and go in the market with your hard work.
Okay. So yeah, this is my recommendation for him, right?
Yes.
Okay. So uh, अगर इसने if he passes his QB astronaut exam, right? That's another thing that he has to do, right? If he does that, तो ये 15 से 20,000 25,000 dirham तक जा सकता है. Okay? रियाल ठीक है ना? So that's something he can do inshallah. मैंने इसको recommendation दी है. He should follow that recommendation. This is going to help him significantly, inshallah. He's very young. He was able to pass all of this. But he has to do the Al Razak program because that is going to push him to the limits in terms of getting things done and give him more confidence in terms of cracking the interviews. If he goes to any company right now, I can tell you that he can secure a job more than what you are getting right. Okay? So you did the wise decision, mashallah, in terms of investing time, right? The other thing I'm going to tell you is that he should also learn Arabic because he can't go anywhere because he's very young, right? 14 years of age, he's not even 16. So minimum before he goes because if he goes as a juvenile, he's not 16. If he goes as a juvenile, then uh, the visa requirements are very strict, right? But if he goes at 16 years of age or 17 years of age, right, then it's easier for him to secure the visa and some of the requirements become easier for him to comply with, right? And even the financial requirements will be easier as well, right? So my recommendation to you is he should study, complete Al Razak labs, and do a specialization in DevSecOps, right? So this is one thing that he should do. I'm going to show it to you.
The specialization in cookies as well, because he had that.
मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ. So I'm going to show it to you. So, right? Pathways, right? So this is the pathway he has to go for right now. Now, when we prepare his, when we prepare his part two of Al Razak, we are going to add some of the things as they relate to basically Saudi market, right? So that's one thing that we're certainly going to do. Now, this is the learning path. He already completed his AI ops, right? Which is something that he did all of that. The next thing I would say, because he has 2 years, he can't go anywhere. He should do DevSecOps specialization, right? DevSecOps. This is going to help him significantly. If he completes Al Razak program, then we can place him on the job in Saudi Arabia, right? The salary is going to be between, in my view, between 15,000 dirham, 15,000 real to 25,000 real. That's how much he can earn. But he has to complete. The only caveat being he's very young, right? Some of the employers, they say like the person needs to be at least, above 16 or 17 or 18 or something, right? There are laws in Saudi Arabia that he has to comply with. but he is doing good, mashallah, right? We will be able to sponsor him to study outside by providing financial statements and whatnot. You can pay the fee and we can sponsor that. That is another option because he secured distinction. Just by virtue of securing distinction, the only thing now he has to complete is Al Razak. If he goes in and gets it done, he gets the financial sponsorship. You may not need it. You may have enough money to show a good bank statement of 100,000, $100,000 to $200,000 or something like that. I don't know. If you have it, you can even send him to study outside as well. But going on a 14 years of age, he's not even 14 yet, right? So going outside when he's not even 14 may create problems because the visa officer might think, he's very young, he's juvenile, like he's not of the age, has to be above 16 or something like that. So you still have time. Groom him, take care of him, right? The other thing is he should learn Arabic because that is going to be an additional language that he should have. You came to Saudi Arabia a few years ago, Arabic is required. If you know Arabic, that helps you a lot. Even though in the Saudi society, uh, most of them, they know how to speak English, but they prefer Arabic because it's their language. It's essentially the language of Jannah. It's the language of, in which the last book was revealed, right? So, so it is important for us to learn Arabic, right? Anyway, right? So he should do that. That course will be starting from July, June last week or July mid, right? So that program will be starting. You can essentially start that program and go there, right? Uh, and those are all native Arabic speakers who are teaching basically Arabic language, and the name is the Islamic Next Generation Scholar Program, right? If he completes the program, then we not only sponsor him by showing the bank statements, but we also give him up to 50% scholarship in our own university, right? At a Nafi, doing master's program. So he has a lot that he can, inshallah, do, right? This is my recommendation for him. Again, congratulations. Your son did very, very well. Make dua for me, inshallah. This is one dua I ask you that whenever you go for Hajj or Umrah, Allahumma inni asluka shahadatan fil masjid Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So just keep saying Ameen. And, when you go there to, Makkah, recite this dua and say, oh Allah, accept this dua. When you go to Medina, say my salam to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and make this dua to Allah and say, oh Allah, accept this dua for Muhammad Faisal. Okay. Do you have any questions for me, Muhammad, Hassaan, Waseem?
If you have time, any available slots for the further study pipeline regarding his future, I just need I have some questions. So might be
You can talk to,
so
I don't have the time. If I talk to all
Yes.
the people, I don't have the time because I have so much work to do. The only time when I'm sitting live, you can join and you can ask questions, or you can talk to the support, and the support is more than capable to answer all the questions. I've already given you the pathway of what he has to follow, right?
yesterday you tell that there is any option for the study in Dubai as well.
Yes, we are opening our college in Dubai, physical college, and in UAE. Like in UAE, there are two places, Dubai and Sharjah. In Saudi, Jeddah and Riyadh. But the fee of studying on site is high. It's almost 2,000 riyal per month, right? So it's easier for you to study remotely than to study on site, right? So you have already completed all the requirements. He's already did his AI ops. His certificate will go, right? In terms of like this is his part 2 of the exam. The part 1 of the exam, they are compiling the results. They will do all of those things. Once they aggregate all the results, they will give him a final grade. But in the part 2, he secured very high marks, right? Most probably in part 1 is the same thing because it always, if a person works really, really hard, we can see his progress anyway, right? It can't be like that he did very well in part 2, but he did very poor in part 1. This doesn't work like that, right? So inshallah, he can do many, many things. If you have any questions, you can send it to the, support and sales and support. If they cannot answer, it will come to me and I will be able to answer. If you want to ask me a question, then it's best that you should join the live session, which I'll be doing anyway in the next 1.5 hours, something like that, right? You can join in. It's 1:15 my time, Eastern time, PM. Right now it's 11:35, right? 37 on my side of the world. After precisely 1 hour and 30 minutes, I'll be sitting online again. You can come, there and you can ask the question. I'll be more than happy to answer it. Inshallah. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Okay, Muhammad Waseem.
Thank you for your
Yes.
answer.
Sorry,
Sir,
Muhammad
please
Hassaan.
write my name on the area of the certification on Muhammad Hassaan. My
Yes.
name is not.
Sorry. Yes, Muhammad Hassaan. Jazakallah khair for your time. I wish you the best, inshallah. You have a bright career, ahead of you. Make your moves very wisely, okay? And follow the mashwara given to you by the people who have been through the industry. Okay, so I've been in the industry for a long time. And when I see a talent, I tell everyone that they should, start focus in terms of doing all of those things properly. Okay, inshallah. May Allah give you more success. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Subhanakallahumma bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.